What's going on guys, it's Yaşar Ben here. Today we are going to be adding a playground to our project. This will be a roguelike game, so we can't have a classical map system. We need a different map to play with in each run. To do that, we'll be procedurally generating each room before player enters. There is different ways to achieve our goal, but we'll use the simple random walk algorithm with corridor first generation. With these methods, we can create corridors to our player to walk and play with. And at the end of every corridor, we'll spawn a room which is created by simple random walk algorithm. I'll be following this tutorial to create this system. If you are interested, you can find the link in the description. So, what's simple random walk algorithm? Imagine a guy on a grid. Let's call him Mark. Mark can walk towards any cardinal direction by one block each time. Let's say Mark moves 5 times. He creates this random pattern. Now Mark gets a chance to iterate his run 4 more times. You can see other 4 Marks walking different paths, and these guys kind of create a room shape together. If we gather all those points and put them in a hash set to get rid of the repeating ones, we would have a room on our grid. Well, we can procedurally generate dungeon rooms now. We need to create corridors at this point, but before we get to the corridor part, we should add basic walls to our room. We'll be working on the rotations of the walls later, just something to wrap around the room for now. After that, to generate the corridors, we'll use Mark again, but this time he won't be able to roam around like he used to. This time Mark can only walk towards one direction he chooses and move certain amount of time. This will create our corridor. After the corridor is finished, we'll put 1 or 2 Marks at the end and they will create more corridors. When we have enough corridors, we'll add the rooms at the start point of some of the corridors. But while we generate rooms, we might skip the dead ends. We don't want that. So, we are gonna check all the corridors right after all the rooms are created. If corridor's endpoint doesn't match with any other corridor start point, that corridor is called a dead end. If there is no room created there, we should add one to our script. And also we should be checking for the first corridor, since we definitely want a room at the spawn. Now it's time to make the walls better. Well, this is a painful process and I don't think I can fully explain how this works to you. But thankfully, the guy from our tutorial explains it perfectly. You should check it out if you want to learn more about rotating the walls at this point. Now, we need to assign types to our rooms. We're gonna have 4 different room types: spawn room, enemy room, treasure room, boss or exit room. We should definitely put the boss room at the furthest, hardest place to reach. But how are we gonna do that? Well, it's pretty simple. We're gonna use this algorithm with the weirdest name to find the reach cost of every room and choose the biggest for the exit. Or, we're just literally gonna choose the furthest one, just looking for the positions to find the furthest one is pretty simple, but not effective all the time. But I still am going to use the simple way because I don't wanna bother with it. So we got the exit room cleared. And the spawn room, well, is the first room player spawns in. All the other rooms will be enemy room, except from one random room. That one will be the treasure room. Okay, now we know which room is gonna get which type. We'll implement all these with a time lapse. Well, let's see our dungeoning game. Oh, and yeah, I changed the character sprite. I saw this asset at the itch.io and I think it fits better at this dungeon tiles. Okay, dungeon seems fine, but we definitely need to shrink our player down and work on the better enemy behavior. Short break from the dungeon generation. I'm gonna talk about an improved enemy behavior system. We have one control script that controls all of the scripts of the enemy. Our enemies have a health and stat scripts that are universal around all of the playable and non-playable characters. And there is 3 abstract classes They control the target, movement and attacking. We have to inherit these classes if we wanted different behaviors. For example, if we have a melee enemy and we want it to rush to the player, we just add follow.cs which inherits the movement and melee.cs which inherits the attack. Or if we want a range one, we will add different behaviors that inherit these same classes. This way, we'll have easy time to create new types and behavior for our enemies. Okay, back to the dungeon generation. We're gonna place some objects in the rooms. I found some assets online and I color corrected them to match the current dungeon tiles. Then I animated the destructible objects. We have barrels, crates and vases to destroy. They have a small chance to drop exp orbs, so players should try to destroy them most of the time. Then I got to work on non-destructibles. They are for decoration only. After I created the required prefabs, it was time to work on the code that spawned our objects. Destructibles and some of the non-destructibles, such as flag or weapon holder, will spawn near the center of the room. Other non-destructibles will spawn by the walls. So we get random position on our room floor list and check if the position is available for the chosen objects. If chosen position doesn't have any wall blocks on 3 block range, we know it's near the center. But with this method we can sometimes put objects on the corridors and we don't want that. We need a clear path to every room to player and enemies to roam around freely. We have our corridor poses in our code, so I just need to remove them from floor position list when I create objects. With all these things done, we can now create rooms with objects in them. It looks pretty cool when you roam around, it doesn't feel so empty anymore. I like how it looks, but it definitely can get better. I found some obelisks online and decided to use them to make an altar for player to summon from. This will act as an opening cutscene in every level. Then I started working on some lights. The lights are cool and all, but there's much superior way to make your game cooler with just a button click. Post-processing. Even though I think it is early to add this, I really want to see the obelisk at their full potential. I played around with some bloom and some other settings and this is how it looks. Now, we're gonna work on some enemy variety. I have 2 enemy ideas. First one is a bat, very classic enemy type for dungeon crawler roguelikes. So I figured this game needs one as well. It charges at the player for a short amount of time and dashes to it. Deals high damage if hit, and if it dashes to a destructible object, it can destroy it. Its eyes glows red and shakes a bit when charging. This is a high damage, low health type of enemy. Next enemy is an archer. It shoots 6 low damage arrows to the player. Arrows will leech after some time when they are fully initialized to give player a reaction time. Even though arrows are low damage, if all 6 of them hits the player, it can cause so much damage. Oh, and both of these enemies are using keep distance movement type. They will keep a safe distance from you when their attacks are on cooldown. They move slower when they are moving away from you to keep things balanced. It is time to work on our Necromancer's 2 support skills, Necrotic Dash and Consume. This should use corpses as their fuel, but they didn't cause I was lazy. Now I'm gonna fix them. First, I made the corpses only stay for 5 seconds then get destroyed. When player use dash, if there is corpses it dashes more, and destroy the corpses with this grey particle effect. Consume is a useless skill if there is no corpses around. Player has to use it when there is corpses around it. It consumes every nearby corpse and heal 3 or 5 per corpse. That out of the way, I made a new UI. I know I'm changing the UI too often, but hear me out. This one is the last time because it looks awesome. This gives the player so much place to see on the screen while keeping the same information available. And we have an X bar now. Player gains experience from X orbs, which drops from enemies or destructible objects. Okay guys, this is it for now. We'll be working on making the X mechanic work on the next episode. We'll add more skills and make player get a random one each time it levels up. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.